After saving your work, we're going to go on. So we're going to do the same thing as before, where we insert blank keyframes at frame 15, and we're going to select the lines, copy it, and do Control-Shift-V to paste that text into the same place. And this is going to be the pen tool. So we're telling us what we're going to do, and then clicking back on drawings to make sure that our drawings are on the drawings layer. Now we're going to use the pen tool, and if you click on it, you'll notice that there are a lot of tools that are inside here, but you can access all these other subtools with modifying keys. So all we really need is the pen tool. The pen tool is, of course, the main Bezier drawing tool that you'll be using in all of the different digital media software applications, Photoshop, Illustrator, Flash, and everything else. So you've been familiar with working with it. You click to create a point, or you click and drag to create a curve. Now, where you want to be aware of things with Flash is that you do want to be really aware of when you're crossing paths, because crossing paths in Flash is really quite weird, as you've discovered, because it actually cuts subpaths for everything. So you can see that you can do all sorts of interesting things with subpaths in Flash, which are different than any other drawing application. But you got to be very aware of what's happening. So notice that I created a very strange organic shape, and I can remove some of these paths just by clicking on them and pressing delete. And you'll see I created a very strange path by crossing a bunch of different paths and then moving the stuff inside. That's not always what we want to do, of course. It's probably a smart idea for us to draw something a little bit more recognizable. It's still a good tool to play with, and I do want to point out that when you're drawing this, you'll notice that what you're seeing is the actual vector shape that makes this particular, or vector paths that make this shape. And if you go to the black arrow, when you click back on this object, all you'll see is the dots, because we currently have a shape. So we're not in object drawing mode, so we see the dots. And if we want to be able to actually see the vector paths again to edit, we can go back to the white arrow, which is our sub-select arrow, and click on it, and you'll see that we have these now that we can play with. And that way we have access to all of the different parts of this vector path, such as all of the strokes and fills. It's hard for you to see the stage right now. I'm going to just change my stage color to something drastically different. That way you can see the modifying points for this path, and you can see that we have our anchor point where the path is selected, and then our control points on the outside. And we can just see that better now that I have a different stage color. So you can modify your shape a lot with this, which is kind of nice. Be aware that Flash can do some funny things with points, for sure. And you can see that it made a bunch of points really close together, which I didn't thought that I had made. So drawing in Flash, even with a pen tool, can be a little bit different experience than other applications. Let me make my stage white again so you'll see the results there. Try and use the pen tool to draw something recognizable. And one of the things that you'll find at the end of drawing with this tool is that you can create, of course, shapes, and then you can fill those shapes later, which is quite nice. Go to the tools over here, the paint bucket and ink bottle, and you can do two different things. The ink bottle changes stroke colors, and your paint bucket does fills. So we can choose a preset fill. If I go to solid, I can take off that alpha, maybe so it's 100% solid, pick a different color, and you can see I can fill these objects because these objects don't have any holes. If you have a pen tool that you have not closed, like this one, and I'll go back to the black arrow, you'll notice that we have a hole right here, which will make it very difficult to fill with color. Notice I can't fill it right now. However, with this particular paint bucket tool, we have the ability to not close gaps, or to close small, medium, or even large gaps, which sometimes will fill those holes. What we have to do is make sure that we get these holes close enough, and then we can fill them, typically. It's probably not a good idea, though.